My name is Revendranath Roshni and I'm from Group 3. So in History of Philosophy, today we are going to speak about the beginning of Greek philosophy. When we look about the history of the Western philosophy, we will definitely know about the ENGs with Greece and Asia. The first well-known philosopher who talk about at least the Thales of Miletus, who came from the same location, that is the center of Western Coast Asia. By that time, the Greek colonies were scattered around into regions. And in that time, there arose many questions from the philosopher. That is, one of it is how you can account when the rise of Western philosophy in the areas of ENGs in ancient Greece. And there also arose several lines of explanation which were important. And one of it is, of course, the difference between the crossroad from Western and Eastern, where the traditional has challenged by the interaction with the Western culture. In that time, by the time there arose trade route, came between through the ancient Mariner and river Meander Valley, and here arose cross-culture civilization. And the second thing is the early philosophers were pre-scientific scientists, and they always ask question about the nature world, natural process, and natural order, and they also ask questions about the elements, the basic elements that underlines the heaven, the furniture of the heaven, only earth, and the changes that occur. So, early philosophy of nature, primitive cosmology, arise many questions about the origin of cosmoses. But there is a third feature which is tremendously important, and the early Greek poets, dramatists have a conviction that the cosmic order which we observe in the nature is also a moral order, or just a notion that it is a cosmic justice. So we have two philosophical lines of thought that accounting to the origin of Greek philosophy. One is reflection of the physical cosmos, and the second is reflection of the moral order believed to exist. And then, if you look at the pre-Socratic philosopher, they grouped the elements into grouped the elements which were principally grouping into various kinds of monism under the Roman 1213, which is against the pluralism. So then there evolved qualitative monism or pluralism, which explains that qualitatively there is one basic element of the many basic elements, but there also involved the quantitative questions. That is, whether the universe is of all inclusive solid kind of space, or whether it is of numerical distinguishable things. And next is the quantitative monism, which arise a question that it is relatively of the sense of experience. Then the Michel tendency say it look for one basic element. Then Thales came to a thought that everything was originally automatically reducible into desirable forms. Then there comes a wild hypothesis that water, which is in solid, liquid, and gas form, which is said to be an element.
I am Kaipada Tunod Sandra from third group. We were discussing about the pre-Socratic philosophers. Thales of Miletus. Thales of Miletus was an early pre-Socratic philosopher from Greek city of Miletus in Ionia. He was one of the so-called seven sages of the Greek, and many regarded him as the first philosopher in the Western tradition. Thales believed that everything can be ultimately reduced to one element. He called it as water. That sounds like a wild hypothesis, but we know water is so fundamental, and water can be available in all states, that is solid, liquid, and also vapor. So maybe that's why he took water as the basic element. He was not only the person who thought there was a basic element. Anaximander recognized that you have not only the wetness but also the dryness. He began to say you have a posing of qualities, also light and dark, heat and cold, male and female, etc., etc. Anaximander came to the conclusion that the world has a capacity for infinite plurality, meaning that the things within the universe are unique. He thought that the all things came from a unspecified, boundless stuff. Anaximenes, on the other hand, thought that air is the basic essential. Anaximenes argued that air went through a process of condensation to become more concentrated, and refraction, meaning that the air become more thinner to form and change the natural world. The Greek talked about the earth, air, fire, and water, which are the four classical Greek elements. Some suggest that they represent the four necessities of life, where earth represents the food, air represents the breath, water represents the nourishment, and fire represents the warmth. Pythagoras and Heraclitus, seemingly independent of each other in the late 6th century, says that there is two nature in that, as it were, two sides, each of which are equally important. The double aspect theory, that is, everything in the world has two aspects. Everything seems to be in the process of changing. On the other hand, there is an order. To think of that change, Heraclitus suggested that the basic element is fire, because fire is constantly changing. So you have both change and order. Pythagoras and Heraclitus, independent of each other, try to tell precisely that. Heraclitus suggests that what we have is fire, or some fiery substance, and some sort of traceable order that he called it as logos. On the other hand, Pythagoras tells that we have the fiery substance or fire, and instead of logos, he introduces a mathematical order to the things. When you get to the Eleatics, they didn't absolutely want pluralism. No discrimination of two aspects, no world of change, and they declares that the change is illusionary. Physical motion, pluralism is all illusionary. Eleatics believed that the truth can be obtained through logic and clarity, and they preferred to leave five senses out of their musings. Thank you.
Здравствуйте, my name is Kalatil Muhammad Al Rahman and I am from third group. So, Zeno. Firstly, we are talking about Zeno. Zeno, he tried to make the case for this absolute monism by paradoxes. Change is paradoxical self-contradictory thing. Process of change and motion are illusionary as plurality. From a strictly logical standard, there can be no change. And Parmenides have same views. He explained with a slogan: "Whatever is and whatever is not cannot be." Zeno and Parmenides were posing the same kind of issues. They say that everything is one, thus universe. Pre-Socratics did for us is to pose the issues. They exaggerate democracies who see a difference things different in things. Empedocles picks up with four elements: earth, fire, air, and water. He came up with some sort of cyclic view of cosmic theory. And Exagerus, on the other hand, thinks thus must be a basic elementary of every kind of qualitative things, no matter how different. And Exagerus talk about if there is some cosmic mind drawings into an ordered unity in ordered direction and some sort of divine nouns. Exaggerates is qualitative pluralists, while democrats are qualitative monists. But quantitative pluralists are the physics thing, the physical thing are composed of infinite number of atoms. The qualitative difference between physical objects are due to the difference in combination of atoms. And an exagerus is suggesting a teleological explanation, democratics and mechanics explanation. Here we have two physiological hitting, in which nothing exists but material atoms being moved by chance of forces, and theological explanation, which is punishing into some kind of idealism or but some explanation which sees some immaterial reality of some rational thought accounting for the orderness of cosmos. Thales is about 600 BC and Socrates about 400 BC. So we can see the 2 year span in which pre-Socrates, in effect, they are formulating the physiological agenda that Western physiology has walked with ever since. They had a very interesting thought, like patterns in every discipline. The simple reason is that latest scientists emerged a synopsis from physiology. The natural physiology is a scene bit out of which empirical and mathematical science developed subsequently. And then you then we begin to get the development as astronomy, physics, and independent of psychology later. And independent psychology, independent physiology, no, psychology is on chemistry and biology. Sociology in mid 90s, psychology as science in early 20th century. And agenda that created by pre-Socrates was caused on the natural physiology and ancient mid times, who were transmitted into modern times. Спасибо.